Welcome to the April 3rd meeting of the Rotary Club of Jamestown, and please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance and singing our national anthem. I pledge allegiance too slow at this. So I was going to do the recorded national anthem, but I am too slow at this. Oh, say, can we? And now the four-way test. Of the things we do, say, or think, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial for all? Our invocation for today is by Walt Pickett.
Thank you. I'll take it as an invitation as well. Many years ago, I hate to say how many now, when I first joined Rotary, Rotary many years ago, the invocation was given by one of the members. I don't remember who it was a gentleman who apparently had been very used to public speaking and perhaps praying in public. And afterwards, the person next to me said, "That was eloquent. I wish I could do that." And I said, "You know, what's the big deal? He was just talking to his best friend." So when I think of an invocation, it often is thought of as we're invoking a divine presence among us. But for those of us who believe that, that presence is always here. We have been invoked into a greater presence. So join me in a prayer acknowledging who has called us here today. Our Lord and Maker of all things, including us, teach us once again to be humble in service and grateful in being given the power, the wisdom, and the ability to serve one another. May that truly be a message to all of us that in your presence, we are given power to serve. We thank you for this opportunity and this privilege. In the name of him who created us all. Amen.
Thank you, Walt. So, still no sound? Okay, very good. So, do we have any visiting Rotarians or guests? All right, well, welcome everyone who's here. Rita, oh yes, you're still officially, unfortunately, a guest. So hi, Rita. Rita, right. Prospective member, we will look forward to your induction. Yes. Yes. So the announcements. So Walt Pickett's doing double duty today, also doing the Rotary. Thank you, Walt. Oh. Right. Walt says he's recording this, so only say what is beneficial to all concerned, right? Okay. So this coming Tuesday, April 4th, the Zoom, the DEI, the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion meeting will be by Zoom. We will not be meeting at CRCF. So please, everybody, log in on Zoom. And anyone who's interested, let us know. And you may also log in on Zoom at noon on Tuesday. April 6th is the Vision Committee meeting. Will it also just be on Zoom? Just on Zoom. So pack your own lunch. Noon on Thursday, April 6th. And this is all for a wonderful reason, and that's because the CRCF is actually getting some work done that they have long wanted to get done. So we are kicked out for this month. April 15th is the district conference. I think you all received an additional schedule, and I hope you will, each one of you, carefully consider attending, especially on Saturday, the 15th, when it will start out with a district meeting. You can find out what's going on for 70 some clubs across Western New York and South Ontario. And then in the afternoon, there will be a special open house of different clubs doing their community service that they are proud of. So it's going to be an opportunity to get some great ideas. And there will also be a couple of 3-4 community service opportunities then. Yoa will be there. He will be in the flag parade. So we want to support him. In the evening, there will be a meat raffle. And so starting at 5, I think, and this would be another opportunity to see if this is a fundraiser that our club would like to get behind. So if there's any way you can make your way clear, Marion is going to be leaving from the park and ride at 8 and returning. Are you leaving there at 4 or returning here at 4? Leaving there at 4, so you ought to be back about 6. I will be going to get Yoa there on time. So we will be leaving the park and ride at 7:15 and coming back after the meat raffle. But right now, I don't think there's any reason why you couldn't go with Marion and come back with me or vice versa. So please, we'd happy to arrange carpooling. Sunday is at the Riverworks in the afternoon, and this is just a fun family time. Also some community service there. But the other thing is Yoa's going to need a ride home. They have a place for him to stay overnight, and he will be going to the Riverworks, and then he will need a ride home. So please, if there's any way you can either participate or offer to give him a ride home, we would really appreciate it. The Books and Bibs fundraiser. You should all have your tickets by now, I believe. Does anyone not have tickets? Oh, we've got 3 or 4 people who do not have tickets. Who's got tickets to hand out? The tickets were mailed out, and so will we start collecting them next week? Oh, Marion's taking money. All right. So please do that. It's a wonderful fundraiser. Actually, this is one that was developed by the Literacy Committee. There's a national effort to work to get parents to read to infants. So this is part of a national effort. Locally, the Chautauqua Center is also working on this. They're hoping that they actually work with mothers and the kids, doing some modeling with the kids when they come up for checkups. So please help us with this fundraiser so we have money to give these books to infants and their moms as they leave the hospital. we are proud to announce that May 8th, our district governor, Lisa Bishop, will be visiting our club, and she will provide the program. So please mark it on your calendar in red. Let's have a great turnout for our district governor, Lisa Bishop. President John wants us to know that the Dragon Boat Race returns to Chautauqua Lake this summer. How many of you knew that already? All right. So it's the Dragon Boat Race. We have in the past, Rotary has participated. And if anyone is interested in assembling a team, please let John know. The Uganda Orphan School Project, I got an update just on Friday. So the Rotary Club of St. Catharines has raised 100% of the funds that they will need for phase 2 of their project. And so we are providing $100 towards that phase 2. This is an excellent example of a project where the individual club has taken it on. They're getting Rotary, they got the Rotary Foundation funds and district funds to do the first phase of the project along with club funds. And they're trying, now they have succeeded in getting the money just from the clubs to do the second part. So it's a really wonderful example of a service project, a multi-year concerted effort club project. And we are looking forward to hearing the progress of it when they get back. They're right now in Uganda, visiting the Rotary Club in Uganda that's going to be undertaking this. And we are waiting to hear back, sure, with pictures and additional information then. Any other announcements? If not, let's give a warm welcome to Joni, who will help us celebrate April birthdays.
It's going to be a balancing act with all the stuff I have. Now, where do I run into feedback? Here? Okay. All right. I'm going to stand right here. Okay. Not to take you more time, but you know, we asked you to donate to the foundation on your birthday to help our Rotary Foundation, which is a huge foundation, does work, lots of work around the world. And in the current Rotary magazine, which you all have, there's an article about what the women in Pakistan are doing to vaccinate against. That's their excuse to get in the door. Then they help the families do many other things, including education of children, mostly girls. So it's a fascinating article. It points out there's only 2 countries that still have polio. Pakistan's one. Who knows the other one? Afghanistan. You're right. So I encourage you to read that and know that you can designate money for Polio Plus, which is one of the focus areas of the foundation. They have a few others that are really important. Take a look at them and really think about what matters to you and where you would like your funds to go. So we're going to celebrate Sally today. Yay. Sally's, you know, turning 30 again. And she joined Rotary. I didn't highlight this. Sorry. She joined Rotary back in 1995 in the last century. She's a graduate of the University of Buffalo with a BA in Environmental Design, American Institute of Certified Planners, and a Certified Business Financial Planner. She says she's retired. I'm not sure if that's completely true. She has lots of advice. She is a retired coordinator of the Greater Jamestown Empire Zone. And we are very happy to have Sally in our life. Her birthday is tomorrow, correct? 2 days, the 4th. Today's the 3rd. All right. Next is John Lloyd, who he sent me an email. He's off gallivanting for the entire month. He won't be here, but he's going to send a check. So take note. John joined the club in 1978 in the last century. His birthday is April 14th. And he, of course, supports what college? What university? Penn State. Go Nittany Lions. I live in PA. I have to say that. He's a CPA doing client relations. All right. And his sponsor was Greg Jones. Next, we have Sharon Hamilton. Sharon joined our club in 2000. And Diana Meckley brought her to us. Thank you, Diana. She is the retired executive director of the Lutheran Senior Housing. And she went to school at JCC, St. Bonaventure, Alfred University, and the University of North Texas. And she was our assistant district governor in 2014 to 17, and her birthday's on April 26th. Happy birthday, Sharon. Next, we have Rich Barkstrom. Rich joined in 1985. I don't know who sponsored him. He's a retired real estate individual, and his birthday is April 27th. Happy birthday, Rich. Yeah. Finally, Joelle Washer. Joelle's birthday is the end of the month, April 27th. She was sponsored by Jennifer Harkness. She's in that, bank cadre that is always with us from Northwest, thank goodness. She's a branch, well, she's not a branch manager anymore. She's a regional business, digital something. Having a lot of fun, I guess. And let me see here, hold on. She went to JCC, the Ohio State University, and SUNY Fredonia. Happy birthday, Joel. Okay, so we have to sing happy birthday. I know, I feel you. So how about happy birthday to the spring flowers? I don't know. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, spring flowers. Happy birthday to you. Okay, I don't have a certificate with me, but honestly, the only one who gets it is Sally because she's here. Yay!
Thank you so much, Joni, and congratulations, Sally. Always a winner. So please give it up for Vince Horgan with today's 50-50 drawing.
The last three, 8, 6, 6.
Magnuson, very good. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. All right. And now welcome our Sergeant at Arms, Mike Roberts.
Thank you, Ruth. Fresh back from Las Vegas, where I attended the
So where are you
International
going? You're
Security
going away?
Conference,
You're a camper
and
usually, aren't you?
the largest.
Yeah, in the summer. They not till May usually, because the
Hmm.
weather's too tricky around these times.
Mhm.
But yeah, we're going to Sarasota for a week.
So I
Where
thought,
you-
seeing that there's a rather
CSCP.
limited sparse crowd here, we'd play trivia, Las Vegas style. You come up with the right answer, I pay. You come up with the wrong answer, you pay. Okay? But first, let's get started. Vince Horgan. I opened up the Bemis Point School District's magazine, and who do I see but Vince Horgan, who has just been appointed to the board. And honestly, I can't think of anyone I'd rather have setting school policy than our friend Vince, honestly. I had it wrong. I had Lisa having graduated from San Diego State University with a master's, Cal State, San Diego State, they're saying, but they're in the finals tonight of the NCAA tournament. So congratulations, San Diego State. If we have any LSU grads, they won the women's tournament yesterday. If we have any North Texas grads, they won the NIT. Okay. Amy is not here. I see she picked up a nice big check from BP Realty. We'll pick her up next week. Dan, Cummins Gay is going to invest $452 million in our local plant. I think that's worth the chamber giving us $1, don't you? Okay. I scanned the papers. My wife saved them all for me. Didn't see a lot of action. So now we're going to play trivia. We're going to start with Lee Magnuson's table. Lee, what university won the 2014 NCAA football championship? It was the first year of the bowl championship playoffs. They were a 4 seed, the only 4 seed to have ever won. I bet he came up, Ohio State. I'm going to go to the birthday table. Okay. Who won the 2023 women's synchronized swimming championship? Ohio State. You're right. I'll pay again. Just for the record, they also compete in the Olympics. They're pretty good at it. Diana, this is Rotary trivia. Who was the president of our club during the millennium? Wrong. Diana Meckley. You, that's correct. But on the day of the millennium, it was you. I may not have qualified that well enough. Okay. Let's go to the guys online. Here we go. They seem to be up to date on things, right? Rebecca, when was Rotary created? Anybody online? When did Rotary get formed? We all know it was Paul Harris.
1913?
No, it was 1905.
Oh.
Paul Harris in Chicago. That's right. You all should send in $1.
I was going to say, do we have time to Google it?
That's true. That's right. You did. You're all sitting in front of a computer, aren't you? Kathy, how many past county executives belong to our club? Are there really 5? That are currently members of our club? Yeah. Name the 3. Tim Edborg? Tim Edborg was never county executive. The answer is 2. Andy Goodell. Okay. Yep. Okay. I think we are down to the end of our questions. Study up next week. study up on polio, Joni, because next week we're going to do polio trivia in Rotary. Okay. Thank you all.
And any happy bucks? Oh, Mike's walking off with the.
All right. I just have a happy buck today to remind everybody that we will be here next Thursday. When I say we, I mean the chamber and business community for Business After Hours. Please join us, Pearl City Hops. We're excited to be here. We're excited to get together and network. All chamber members have at least 2 tickets to all Business After Hours. And if anybody from Rotary is not a member would like to come, just sign up on our website, use the promo code guest, be my guest. We'd love to see you. Also, my other happy buck was taxed, but great lunch today. I just wanted to say that. So thanks.
Here's one for our favorite day of the year, Tax Day, but simply because old friends should never be forgotten. Tax Day is Jim Roselli's birthday.
So is that the 15th or the 18th? Okay. All right. So I'm up here with $2 for 2 reasons. I'm inviting you to come to the Dining in the Dark, which is happening April 21st at the Harbor Hotel. It's a ongoing fundraising event for CBA Vision Rehabilitation to raise money for our youth vision screening program. We screen over 4,000 3 to 6-year-olds every year to find developmental conditions that need to be fixed. So your money can help. That's a fun night. You have to eat with a blindfold on. And if you're good, you can look at your dessert. So that's the first $1. The second $1 is we're in need of volunteers, which means you're not eating with a blindfold on. That might, just be enough for you to come. We're looking for volunteers to help those who are wearing the blindfolds, and we will train you what to do. What happens is usually we have students from JCC's Occupational Therapy Assistance Program as our guides, along with SUNY Fredonia Professional Health Club members. But the numbers are so low this year that we can't have tables without guides, or it's going to be chaos. So I need some people to help us out. So if you are willing to sacrifice an evening, Friday, April 21st, and help us, help others, please let me know. Thank you.
Very good. So we were very excited, Marion and Kirk and I, to work on a strategic planning of the survey. And you guys, many of you, over half of you participated in the survey. And in just a second, I'm going to get you a PowerPoint. All right. There we go. I got it. There we go. So we put together information about the strategic plan, the survey that we put out on Survey Chimp, and almost more than half of the club responded. We really appreciate those responses, and they were very, very, very helpful, especially the comments that people put into the survey. And so it really made me wish that we'd gotten 100% participation, because everyone has good thoughts and helpful thoughts that can help us with the club. So I would say if you in fact were unable or did not respond to the survey, but would have some things you would like us to know, we would love to have you do that and let either a board member or John and Marion, Kirk and I, let one of us know. And if something that you see today sort of triggers an additional thought or a thought, we would also like to know that, because it was a very valuable experience for us. So this will be online because it's being recorded, but also we are keeping track not just of the summary comments, but also each individual comment in the PowerPoint, so that we will retain that information. And so I'm going to go real briefly over the questions that were asked. And then as we were reviewing them, Kirk had some thoughts about, many of the comments were about engagement and participation. And so we are anxious to hear. Kirk had some thoughts about that had sort of been mulling around in his mind. And so he's going to talk with us. So first of all, what influenced your decision to join Rotary? I don't think there's really a lot of surprises here. People were really interested primarily in service, fellowship, and business connections. And those are pretty even. And so we need to, as we look forward on what we need to do for the next few years, to keep in mind that people have a range of reasons why they joined. And then they have a range of reasons why they attend meetings, but primarily social and connections. And in the comments, somebody mentioned, well, it's a good time to touch base with fellow Rotarians about our projects. So when we asked about how frequently we should meet, and that was pretty evenly divided up. Right now we meet weekly. We asked if you'd rather have one meeting each month to be talking about maybe committees or something like that. Many people thought that was a good idea. Some people thought switching to bi-monthly was a good idea. So it was pretty evenly divided. And so when we asked about how we can improve meetings, there was a lot of good suggestions on that. A lot of people mentioned food, some people mentioned location and speakers, but there were just so many under the other. As you might think, several people had comments about Zoom and how we should go forward with Zoom. Other people, somebody recommended the national anthem, and it should be recorded. And so we're trying to do that. John did it great last week. So like I say, we're looking at all these comments. And other people thought that the meetings were just fine, short and sweet and to the point. Others were concerned about the length of time of the meetings. And one of the things I wanted to mention is that our meetings right now are scheduled to go from 12:15 to 1:15. So maybe a question that we didn't ask that we should have asked is the time right? So maybe it would be better to meet from 12 to 1. I don't know. I mean, that was just two people that mentioned that they would like the meetings to be over at 1. So, but there was a lot of comments about that we need the members to come back. We need to get members not only to attend, but to be engaged. And I think that was important throughout the survey. And why do you miss meetings? Once again, not a lot of surprises there, primarily because of work conflicts. We asked about the services that we currently ask people to participate in, volunteer in, and pretty much across the board to the far right column here is the ones that are the people are most interested in participating in. So there's nothing that's a standout favorite. And so we need to, I think, as a club, think about if that's because nobody's, people aren't excited about any one thing, or if it's because we have different people with different things that they enjoy, and therefore it's good to have the spread. I would say the one thing that worried me, and we need to discuss further, is the hosting exchange students. And I guess I wonder if it's how we ask the question. Maybe there are few people who are actually able to host exchange students, but are very interested in the exchange program. But this is something we need to flesh out a little further to see why most of the people said that they really were not interested in what we called hosting students. So we asked, would any leadership decision cause you to leave Rotary? And this was a fishing expedition. And so we had 26% of the people said, yeah, there might be something that would happen that would cause me to quit attending Rotary. But the answers were more like, well, if the club were to make a quick decision without asking the membership, that might cause me to. It might be if the club didn't do community service, that would definitely affect people. And it says any decision made without the support of the membership. So once again, it was sort of interesting to see what the comments were. What fundraiser would you support? Once again, there's no big winner on this. So I sort of look at the fact of the right-hand column is it said that's the person's number one choice. Then the green is the number two choice, and then 3 and 4 go down to the left. So there's not a clear winner in this. I would say that if you look at those first and second choices combined, it helps us understand that whereas there are more people, there are a lot of people who really like the gala. After that, the support really diminishes. So that was my takeaway. Based on the fundraiser, what would you be willing to do? Most people would be willing to do something. And so like with our current raffle and like with the golf, our golf tournament, let's all do something, figure out what it is, and really think upon what it is we're going to do. And what are the top areas of focus that we should focus on? Once again, Rotary's focuses, people are interested pretty much across the board. A slight preference for basic education and economic development, but really everything is on the map. So the 3 top choices for how our club can grow, the top one is increase the impact of our projects. So this is something that was important to people, and in the comments, there were all kinds of wonderful ideas of how we could do all these things. Increasing membership, a lot of people said, let's work on increasing young members, and others really talked about getting people more engaged, increasing the impact of the projects, but also of our membership. Organizations that Rotary should partner with. Once again, there were most people thought Rotary should extensively use partnerships or coordination, cooperation with other organizations. So the big question, what do you hope Rotary accomplishes in the next 3 years? A lot of comments on this. Many were around the projects that we do, working on projects that are needed in the community and maybe not addressed, and also that would really get people involved and including the public. Increasing membership numbers, but to get the fundraising and participation up, stabilizing the attendance, more visibility in the community, and several comments like this one. I feel like Rotary has lost a step or two since the pandemic, and before we all seemed very involved, and so things that will bring people together to be involved. And so the who answered this survey, you can see here, like our club, it's pretty skewed to the 55 to 65 plus, but that's pretty much a reflection of our club. So these were the results that we found from our survey. And like I say, it really, a lot of it had to do with engagement and getting people back involved and getting impactful projects. And so we will consider that and consider that with our board. And now I'll turn it over to Kurt.
Thanks, Ruth. I just have a couple of thoughts that came to mind as we were reviewing these results from this survey. And as Ruth mentioned, you know, we undertook this survey initially as a part of an effort to find a strategic plan for the club moving forward. What are the things that we should focus on moving forward? And as we were reviewing this, these results, a few things came to my mind, and there are a few things that have been on my mind for a little while as I've kind of observed on here. As we've talked about before, I think most of us are familiar from when I've been introduced for my birthday or whatever, that I have a master's degree in sociology and a PhD in leadership studies. And I've watched kind of the club and our community through those lenses for quite a while. And there've been a few things just kind of percolating on my mind. And so as we saw these results, the first thing that came to my mind was, looks like we missed a slide. There we go. Just a little out of order. There we go. So this was a book that was published right around the time that I was working on my master's degree. So late 90s, early 2000s. And the title of this book is, as you see there, Bowling Alone, and the collapse and revival of American community. And so Robert Putnam's a world famous sociologist, and he had studied what had been going on within societies and communities all throughout the United States. And some of the main observations that he identified, one was this dramatic decrease in participation in civic organizations. Now, this has been in steady decline in the United States, really post World War II. Right after World War II, so if you think of the U.S. prior to World War II, engagement in civic organizations and other things was at its high, at its peak. And so you think of Rotary and so many other service clubs and everything else. And one of the points that Putnam made was this decline in what's called social capital. Now, social capital is essentially, you know, if you think of financial capital, that's how we trade in an economy. But social capital is essentially that the capital that we use to trade within community, within organizations. And so you think of participation in civic organizations is a huge form of social capital. The social capital essentially is the glue that holds communities together. And so Putnam observed this steady decline after World War II in things like participation in PTA, voting, newspaper reading, service clubs, and so on. Now, he looked at a number of factors that influenced this. You know, he wanted to find out what was it that was contributing to this rapid and steady decline in participation in our communities and those civic organizations that hold, that again, that act as the glue to hold our communities together. So the first one was essentially pressures of time and money. And as our economy has become more and more affluent in the United States, we find that so many of us are much more tied to trying to keep up with that. So that was one. He said that accounted for about 10% of the decline in participation in civic life. The other one is, and it's related to that, is the pressure on two-career families. Prior to World War II, it wasn't so much the case, but after World War II, we see again, as our lifestyles have evolved, the pressures of two-career families. The next one was urbanization. As we've left and moved out to the suburbs, about 10% of that decline has been related to that. And then the last one that he indicated, well, the second to last one was the rise of electronic entertainment. Initially, when he wrote his book, he said it's all the fault of television. But as television has become more and more and more prominent a part of our lives, our engagement in our communities has decreased. And then the last point that he made is he calls it generational succession. And that is the older, more civically minded generations are being replaced by their younger, less involved children and grandchildren. And if you look at those demographics that we just showed on the previous slide, that helps us to understand what we're seeing going on. So we asked the question here. So again, those are several factors that contribute to that. So we asked the question, you know, what can be done? What can we as a civic organization, as a civic asset, do to help build community? This book here, Courtney's probably familiar with this from her studies, a book titled A Journey to the East. And this has been on my mind. And really last year, it was almost like every time I came to a Rotary meeting, this book kept coming to mind. Some of you may be familiar with this. It was a book written by Herman Hesse many, many years ago in the early 1900s. And just the quick summary of what happens in this book, it takes narrator, his name is, he just goes by HH, and the author's initials are HH, so it's somewhat autobiographical perhaps. But the way that this fictional story runs is that the narrator receives an invitation to join an ancient and timeless religious order. It's like the greatest honor of his life. He's been invited to join this timeless order that's been in place for thousands of years. Members of this order, and again, it's all fictional, but members of this order include Plato and Socrates and several other very, very prominent individuals throughout history. And so as part of this invitation, they are invited to embark upon this pilgrimage to the East, to go to the headquarters of this ancient order and to receive an induction thereat. And so all of the invitees are invited to start at one starting point, and they start on their journey. And as they start on their journey, they're the only person that's there that kind of knows what's going on is an individual named Leo. And Leo essentially is the guy that helps them get everything ready. Leo's the one that coordinates their meals. Leo's the one that helps pack the camels each morning. Leo's the one that helps set up camp. Leo's the one that goes out and chops wood and does all of that stuff for them so that this journey can continue to progress. And as they get nearer and nearer to their destination, people get more and more excited. And then one day they wake up and they're in a place called Morbio Inferior, Deep Mountain Gorge. And they wake up that morning and Leo's gone. For whatever reason, Leo just doesn't show up. And so they sit there for a little while talking about what to do. And finally they decide, well, let's just get going. And so they start on their journey again. They only make it a couple more days before the entire expedition just disintegrates. It falls apart. And so HH, his only choice is to return home. So he goes back home and spends years and years and years trying to contact Leo to find out. That's his only link to this ancient order, trying to find Leo to find out, we got lost. What can we do to find this order once again and to participate in this wonderful part of our lives? This goes on for decades. Finally, one day he's able to contact Leo through a letter. And Leo comes, just long story short, and visits with him and gives him one last invitation to join this ancient order. And he gives him directions on how to get there. It's kind of a quick trip this time. And so HH takes the trip, and ultimately he ends up at this magnificent palace. We see there he's invited years later to appear before the throne of this ancient order. HH makes the trip. He gets to this destination. He walks in. The walkway is lined with some of the greatest individuals throughout history. And as HH walks up to this great throne to find the leader of this ancient order, he's shocked to realize that it's Leo. That Leo is the headmaster of this ancient order. Well, this book was read. It's been read by many, many people. But it was read by an individual who was an executive in the 1940s, 1950s, 40s, and so on, Robert Greenleaf. Robert Greenleaf was an executive at AT&T. He read this book and was just fascinated by the lesson that is taught there. And he wrote the book titled The Servant as Leader. Robert Greenleaf is essentially the founder of the theory of leadership titled Servant Leadership. That read throughout my mind every time we had a Rotary meeting last year. And we talked about the theme for last year, what it was, service above self, right? We talked about that every meeting we had last year. And it resonated in my mind that if there is an organization within our community that's going to help us overcome that decline of civic engagement, that decline of communicating and coming together, it's going to be us. It's going to be the Rotary Club. I think of all of the work that Rotary within our community, and we just saw a lot of that in this survey just now. A lot of that was outlined, or a lot of the work Rotary does is acting as that glue that seeks to hold our community together and to build our community. So I just wanted to end with this quote from Robert Greenleaf, where he talks, as he developed this theory, he said the difference manifests itself in the care taken by the servant first individual to make sure that other people's highest priority needs are being served. Do those served grow as persons? Do they, while being served, become healthier, wiser, freer, more autonomous, more likely themselves to become servants? And what is the effect on the least privileged in society? Will they benefit or at least not be further deprived? And again, this was a statement or quote that went through my mind every time we met last year as we talked about the role of Rotary to fill that role of service above self. And so as we think about our strategic plan moving forward and the things that we want to accomplish as a Rotary Club, this was something that I found would be helpful for me to keep in mind, the role that our club plays within our community. If our club is not striving to strengthen those communal bonds that exist within our region, then who's going to do it? And so I invite you to keep that in mind as we consider these things and as we move forward to outline our strategic plan over the next couple of years. Thanks.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Kirk. Do we have any questions from the group? Well,
Thank you, Kurt. Just a comment. I had meant to mention earlier that this is the Easter season. And if we really understand the story, there is no greater story of service above self.
Well, if there no other questions, I think that does leave us with wonderful thoughts or an important thought to contemplate going forward. And I really appreciate that, Kirk. And so I hope that our Rotary is going to donate, and thanks to the presentation, a gift to the Polio Plus campaign so that we'll vaccinate 4 children who will never experience polio in their lives. And thank you very much. Remember this year's Rotary theme, Imagine Rotary. And we thank you, and we're adjourned.